What if the fairy tale marriage the world obsessed over was actually a prison? And what if the scandalous affair was the real love story? For years, the public saw an unhappy, reluctant Prince of Wales and his marriage to Princess Diana. But the man we see today with Queen Camilla is a world away from that cold, distant husband. He was a man torn between his royal duty and a deep, forbidden love. This is the story of how that one great love, a love that survived decades of scandal and heartbreak, finally transformed a future king. It's a story of two marriages, two women, and two completely different husbands. One marriage, to the people's princess, would bring him misery. The other, to the woman once called the most hated in Britain, would make him the happy and confident man he is today. So how did this happen? The answer is a tale of duty versus desire and public image versus private reality. The wedding on July 29, 1981, was a global event, watched by 750 million people. A beautiful, 20-year-old bride, Lady Diana Spencer, and her 32-year-old prince, the heir to the British throne. It was sold as a fairy tale, and the public desperately wanted to believe in it. But behind the stunning facade, the foundation of this marriage was already cracked, built not on love, but on grim duty. For Prince Charles, the pressure to get married was immense. By his early 30s, his family, especially his father, Prince Philip, was pushing him to find a suitable bride. The checklist was strict and old-fashioned. The future queen had to be an aristocrat, Protestant, and, most importantly, a virgin. His longtime love, Camilla Shand, just didn't fit the bill. She wasn't from a high-ranking aristocratic family, and, having had a romantic past, she wasn't the virginal bride the palace demanded. His own great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten, bluntly advised that Camilla was a woman to have an affair with, but not to marry. So, Charles looked elsewhere. After briefly dating her older sister, Sarah, he was reintroduced to a young, impressionable Diana Spencer in 1980. She was just 19 and seemed to be the perfect fit. After meeting in person only 13 times, they announced their engagement. That lack of any real connection, of any time to actually get to know each other, was a disaster waiting to happen. The warning signs were there from the start. During their now infamous engagement interview, a reporter asked if they were in love. Diana shyly replied, "Of course." Charles, however, added the chillingly detached phrase, "whatever in love means." It was a shocking public glimpse into his true feelings. Diana later confessed that her spectacular wedding day was the worst day of her life. She already knew Charles's heart belonged to someone else. Just before the wedding, she had found a bracelet Charles had made for Camilla, engraved with the initials F and G for their private nicknames, Fred and Gladys. The night before he married Diana, Prince Charles reportedly wept, feeling trapped in a life he didn't truly want. Their life together was defined by how totally incompatible they were. With a nearly 13-year age gap, their personalities and interests couldn't have been more different. Diana loved pop music and fashion. Charles was a deep thinker who loved philosophy, polo, and gardening. He found her youthful energy to be a lot, once saying the age difference bothered him and that Diana felt like a child, while Camilla had always been his equal. This disconnect quickly turned into something much worse: jealousy. As Princess of Wales, Diana's fame exploded. The public and the media were instantly obsessed with her glamour and warmth. On royal tours, crowds would literally groan in disappointment if they were on Charles's side of the street, chanting, "We want D. We want D." In her 1995 Panorama interview, Diana confirmed the devastating effect this had on their marriage. With the media attention came a lot of jealousy, she revealed. She explained how Charles couldn't understand why the public adored her so much and took his frustrations out on her. He didn't see her popularity as a good thing for the monarchy. He only saw it as a personal insult, a shadow that he couldn't escape. This resentment grew, creating a cold and lonely world for Diana, who felt more and more isolated within the royal family. To understand the man King Charles is today, we have to go back to the beginning, not to Diana, but to a party in 1970. It was there, through a mutual friend, that a young Prince Charles first met Camilla Shand. The connection was instant. She was confident, funny, and wasn't intimidated by his royal status at all. She famously broke the ice by joking, "My great-grandmother was the mistress of your great-great-grandfather. I feel we have something in common." He was completely charmed. Royal biographer Penny Junor wrote that Charles loved that Camilla smiled with her eyes and laughed at the same silly things he did. They started a romance, but timing and tradition were working against them. Charles was only in his early 20s and wasn't ready to get married. More importantly, the palace still saw Camilla as an unsuitable bride for a future king. Then, in 1971, Charles was deployed with the Royal Navy for 8 months. In his absence, Camilla accepted a proposal from her longtime boyfriend, Andrew Parker Bowles. They married in 1973, leaving Charles heartbroken. Even though they both married other people, their bond never really broke. They stayed in the same social circles, and Charles was even named the godfather to Camilla's first child, Tom. This connection was a constant source of tension in Charles's marriage to Diana. By 1986, with his own marriage privately in shambles, Charles and Camilla rekindled their affair. This is what led Diana to later say her marriage was a bit crowded because there were 3 of us in it. The affair blew up into a massive public scandal in the early 1990s. In 1993, the press published transcripts of a secretly recorded, very intimate phone call between Charles and Camilla from 1989. The incident, known as Camillagate, was a huge humiliation for the royal family, confirming the affair to a shocked world. The fallout was immense. Camilla divorced Andrew Parker Bowles in 1995, and Charles and Diana. Yet, through it all, their love held on. Charles began a slow, patient, and carefully planned campaign to repair Camilla's public image and bring her into his life officially. He was determined. He knew she was the one who truly understood him. They finally made their first public appearance together in 1999, and, on April 9, 2005, 35 years after they first met, Charles and Camilla were finally married in a quiet civil ceremony. It was nothing like his first wedding. Queen Elizabeth II didn't attend the ceremony itself, but hosted the reception, signaling her eventual acceptance. It was the quiet end to a love story that had survived decades of obstacles and public outrage. The difference between the husband Charles was to Diana and the husband he is to Camilla is like night and day. It's a change so obvious that it's been pointed out by royal experts, former staff, and the public. With Camilla by his side, Charles is a noticeably happier, more relaxed, and more confident man. This is all the proof you need that his first marriage was an act of duty, while his second is a true partnership. The most telling contrast is the jealousy. With Diana, Charles was consumed by it. He couldn't handle being overshadowed by her global fame. With Camilla, it's the complete opposite. He isn't threatened by her popularity, he's incredibly proud of her. As Camilla has taken on more royal duties and evolved into a respected queen, Charles has been her biggest supporter. He loves that she has carved out her own role, and he celebrates her success. You can see this difference in their body language. Photos from the Diana years often show a stiff, awkward couple with a clear distance between them. In contrast, Charles and Camilla are always seen laughing together. They share easy smiles, comfortable touches, and an obvious connection. A former butler, Grant Harold, said, "She's helped him become more comfortable and more himself. We always see him laughing now." Royal photographer Arthur Edwards, who has followed the king for nearly 50 years, noted that Charles has become a nicer person since marrying Camilla and that his pent-up anger seemed to disappear. Camilla has a calming effect on him, often seen gently guiding him or soothing him during his famous flashes of temper, like the incident with the leaky pen. Their relationship is a partnership of equals. Where Diana was a very young woman thrown into a world she didn't understand, Camilla was a mature woman who had known Charles for decades. She understood the pressure he was under and shared his interests. Royal experts call her his rock and his backbone. As expert Marlene Koenig stated, with having a supportive and loving wife, Charles is a far better monarch and person. This partnership has been essential to his role as king. In his very first speech to the nation after Queen Elizabeth II's death, Charles paid a moving tribute to his wife, saying, "I count on the loving help of my darling wife, Camilla. She becomes my queen consort." He praised her steadfast devotion to duty, a duty she performs not as a rival, but as his partner. This is the ultimate transformation. The man who was once jealous of his wife's spotlight now happily shares it with the woman he loves. He went from a husband who resented his wife's popularity to one who champions his wife's work. It shows a man who is no longer insecure or trapped, but fulfilled in a relationship built on decades of history, respect, and unshakable love. So what do you think? Can someone really change this much between two marriages? Was this a tragic love triangle or the ultimate story of true love winning in the end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're as fascinated by the complex lives of the royals as we are, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories from the world's most famous family. The story of King Charles and his two marriages isn't just royal drama. It's a deeply human story about the clash between duty and desire, a public facade and private happiness. His marriage to Princess Diana was a product of its time, a royal expectation that crumbled under the weight of a love that already existed for someone else. Charles was a cold and jealous husband because he was playing a part he never wanted, with a woman he was never truly in love with. His relationship with Queen Camilla, however, reveals a totally different man. With her, he's supportive, relaxed, and happy. Theirs is a love that survived decades of public scorn to finally find its place. The man who once gave us the hesitant, infamous line "whatever in love" means became a king who confidently calls Camilla his darling wife. It just goes to show that even for a king, a life of duty is no replacement for a life of real love, a love that ultimately transformed the man and secured his crown.